Welcome to round 1 of the Gauntlight Ruins Tournament Invitational. Kicking off the tournament are a pair of siblings, each vying to take the top spot. Will their sibling rivalry encourage new and interesting tactics, or is the desire to win going to push them towards a more reliable meta approach? We're going to be looking at their builds shortly, but first, let's recap the rules. One by one, our competitors are going to attempt to slay 3 enemies in the fewest rounds possible. These targets include Boss Scrawng, the Giant Flies, and the infamous Mr. Beak. Our competitors will run level 3 characters through this gauntlet, having spent 75 gold pieces on whatever they think they'll need. Their route remains up to them. The entire run will be made in encounter mode. They'll begin once their initiative is rolled, and they'll keep that initiative for the whole run. Ending a turn in a room with enemies activates those enemies and adds them to the combat. Luckily for our competitors, monsters are locked to their rooms, so ending a turn outside of the triggered room returns those enemies to stasis. The exception to this is for our ranged competitors. If they made a ranged attack on an enemy in another room on their latest turn, the enemy will stay active, even if they aren't in an activated room. Our competitors will also have 1 hero point for their runs. The winner will be the one that kills all 3 targets in the fewest rounds possible. In the event of a tie, or if neither competitor defeats all 3 targets, we'll use their performance across the run to determine a winner. Now, let's see what today's competitors have built. On the left will be Charleh, and he'll be using a Goblin Swashbuckler. Bouncy Goblin will provide a handy bonus to those important tumble-through attempts, while Opportune Riposte and Flashy Dodge will give him 2 potent reactions to help him clear the dungeon quickly and safely. Tumble Behind is going to make that his primary source of panache over fainting, although his Fencer subclass does give him the chance to earn panache at range thanks to Create a Diversion, getting the Bravado trait. Vivacious Speed will encourage him to try and keep panache up as often as possible to cover more ground. He's got Battle Medicine and Assurance in Thievery and Acrobatics, which might hint at the path that he's planning on taking. In contrast to that, on the right we have Pansheen, previously known as Turk, who will be sticking with the classics with an Orc Fighter. Let's Try That Again will act as a pseudo-second hero point for if things go poorly during the run. Sudden Charge and Vicious Swing are classic fighter feats that will help her move fast and hit hard. Reactive Strike might come in handy if the monsters survive long enough for her to need it, while Rapid Mantle will cover for some potential slip-ups and allow her to use Athletics for any grab and edge scenarios. The +1 Gladius will leave her with a free hand, and that deadly D10 will come in very handy if she gets the crits that she's looking for. And that Cheater's Elixir is a good way to augment her speed. Alright, without further ado, allow me to hand you over to our casters and we can begin. I hope you enjoy.
Thank you, Skull. Good to have you all with us. We're looking at 2 competitors here, and they have just rolled initiative.
That 16 from Pansheen might cause problems. But they are off, and it looks like they're choosing different paths.
That's right, Charleh is looking to use the Vine Bridge to skip a large portion of the early dungeon.
This path is likely where we'll see his Acrobatics Assurance come in.
Yep, straight across, and that 22 initiative has kept him ahead of the Slurk and let him move on before it can hit him with that entangling slime. Meanwhile, Pansheen is making use of her Rapid Mantle feat, knowing she couldn't make the distance without a long jump, but now saving actions by climbing straight up as part of that reaction.
Let's go full screen with Charleh here, as he's into Boss Scrawng on only turn 4. He gained his panache from the doorway before entering, thanks to being a fencer.
He's closing the distance into a confident finisher. And it's a crit. Boss Scrawng is down.
There's his last action to leave the room. That's a Boss Scrawng kill in 1 turn, and the room never even got to activate.
What a head start.
Checking back in with Pansheen, it looks like she's about to enter the room as Charleh is exiting.
That is one hell of a lead.
Being small size and getting to use that Vine Bridge is proving its value.
Charlie heads towards the giant flies, let's focus on Pansheen here.
Door opened. And a sudden charge to close the distance and get a hit in. Ah, but it's just a normal hit.
A crit here would have been great to close some of that distance on Charlie. Room activates and the two mid-flits get to go first.
She's taken a couple of hits there. Can she finish boss strong and move on?
A vicious swing. Oops, she's clicked on hold by mistake. Let's roll that back. And it's a crit. 35 damage. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the same damage Charlie hit for.
Indeed it is. It looks like he's had a small brawl with the enemies in the center room, but he has panache and he's heading towards the giant flies.
Let's see if he can speed through these flies and avoid giving Pansheen time to catch up.
Pansheen taking a clever approach, waiting in the doorways to avoid triggering either room.
Meanwhile, Charlie has begun that swashbuckler dance. Finish, panache, finish, panache. Both flies are still alive.
Oh, but the critical miss by the giant fly, letting him use opportune riposte, and he kills it on its own turn.
One giant fly to go, and Pansheen has found her way to the same combat. Reducing that huge lead is important, but she's still pretty far behind.
And she's stalling to refresh her cheat's elixir instead of getting straight in there.
Charlie is done with the flies. He's leaving as Pansheen is just about to start. I don't see how she's going to close this distance.
Well, wait a minute. Where's Charlie going?
Is he seriously going to risk the horde room?
I suppose he's trying to avoid the door that got clogged up with mid-flits, but this is a huge risk.
Pansheen has used her hero point on a vicious swing, but the fly is still standing.
Oh no, Charlie has failed his save. He's confused.
With no one else around, he's going to be hitting himself, and Pansheen has killed her first fly.
What an error going into that room.
This was exactly what Pansheen needed, though. If these runs hadn't been recorded separately and in private, I would have assumed that he was slowing down to give her a chance.
That's both flies dead for Pansheen, and she's back on the move.
Sorry for the interruption. Some of you might have noticed an error in how we handle the confusion rules here. Charlie should not have rolled to attack himself. They are supposed to be auto hits. That is an error in his favor. However, he also should have gotten a save after each instance of damage. That's an error in his detriment. For now, we'll say that they cancel each other out, but should this match come to a draw, this error will be considered. Carry on.
I could have sworn Charlie had this in the bag after that early lead, but holy hell, they are both arriving at the locked door at the same time.
This is where builds matter. Charlie has come into this looking to pick a lock, which takes 2 actions and is multiple successes. Pansheen has the strength needed to just smash the door open.
Both are luckily out of the mid-flit's range, but will it stay that way? Let's see these rolls.
Oops, Charlie double-clicked there. We're looking at the 14 for his first attempt, and that is not good enough.
But Pansheen is through the door with a successful force open. Now she's back on the move while Charlie gets swarmed.
A 26 gets Charlie his first success. But that's all he wants to do on his turn. He's letting actions get wasted.
And Pansheen is at the final segment of this gauntlet.
Charlie doing what he can to preserve his health.
What a mix-up. It hurts to see Charlie lose such a strong lead. I don't know what he's going to do from here to bring it back.
Pansheen is into Apprentice Island.
Charlie sees another failure at the locked door and is giving up on the idea.
What's he planning?
He's squeezing through the window. That's 4 damage, but at least he's out.
Meanwhile, Pansheen is into Mr. Beak.
Both competitors taking a moment to heal.
Pansheen is leaping around to avoid the need to balance. I guess that is a loophole of the broken glass on the floor of this room. Smart.
Charleh is desperately racing towards Mr. Beak. If things go perfectly for him, or badly for Pansheen, he might still have a chance.
A vicious swing from Pansheen, not a crit though. It's not over yet.
A balance. To a long jump for Charleh.
But it's a failure, he can't make it.
He grabs an edge to save him from the water, but now he's hanging there as the Flicker Wisp activates.
Meanwhile, Pansheen has failed her save from the Phantom Pain spell. That's a big chunk of damage and 3d4 persistent damage. She needs to end this quickly.
Oh my god, the Flicker Wisp has crit Charleh.
Pansheen has cleared the second, and in doing so stopped the persistent damage.
But she doesn't need it. A critical, vicious swing, and Mr. Beak is down. We have our winner.
What? An amazing comeback from Pansheen. Can Charleh save face and also get a Mr. Beak kill?
The Flicker Wisp says no. Charleh is down.
Let's see that winning fight again.
She makes good use of those vicious swings to deal damage, and it was very clever to spend the time to remove that second in case the fight had dragged out. Winning on the back of a natural 20 though, we do love to see it.
Thank you for joining us on the first episode of the Gauntlight Ruins Tournament Invitational.
Pansheen will be moving through to round 2. Thank you for your effort, Charleh. You put on a great show.
We'll see you again soon for the next set of competitors.